All right, so we should be having our next guest, our next speaker, who is coming up next is Anita Defrancesco, and she is an MA Modern Sex and Relationship Coach, founder of Tantra Wisdom, has been leading workshops for 20 years in the Los Angeles and Philadelphia area as a somatic psychotherapist, Tantra yoga master, and the author of Live Free, Your Journey to a Liberated Life. Her podcast is Mindfulness, Sexuality, and Relationships. And you can connect with her at info@AnitaDefrancesco.com. And luckily we have her coming in right here. So welcome, 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 Anita. Thank you so much for being here. Hello and welcome. Do I have you muted again somehow? Let's see. All right.
I'm muted.
There we go. Hi, Anita. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you. And what is your name?
My name is Karen Palmer. I'm the Mindful Media Mom and the Queen of Global Kindness. I'm hosting here with Destiny and with all the wonderful people for the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine Rising. And really excited to hear your presentation. And
yes, well, firstly, I'm based in Philadelphia and Los Angeles, so I'm bi-coastal.
That's awesome. I live in California too. I live in Southern California.
Yeah, I'm in West LA.
Awesome.
West LA, but I'm in Philadelphia nowadays, right now, recently, the last few years. So, but what I want to talk about is today is, I know our topic is the divine masculine and the rising feminine. And I think there's a lot of interest in this subject in many different ways. And what I'd like to do is teach a lot of different people how to educate the public in that may not have the spiritual minds to seek out this type of education, if you will. The education of the spirit that I find to be very, very enlightening and something that people are drawn to, but at the same time, it's there for us who are drawn to it and teach other people how to bring this about, how to embody this, how to open up into the spirit of the divine masculine, of the rising feminine. And what we're talking about today to the audience is the masculine and feminine energies that live in all of us. It's not particularly a man or woman, it's just the energies, the polarities coming together, and how we embody this and how we live this. So what I wanted to start with was, and my topic today is the relationship to your own feelings, how we live in the heart space, and how I've come to be, and I'll give you some history on my past of how I've come to be where I am today. So do you want me to continue or? Okay, so feminine rising needs to happen when we have to start in the masculine hearts. And the masculine heart is something that is in all of us. And at some point, that masculine heart unfolds. There's a vulnerability, a sensibility, a sensory part of which we teach in Tantra. That part of the masculine heart needs to express and open. Now, it's a very difficult for someone to understand the masculine heart. The heart gets very hardened if we don't express it, if we don't open it, if we don't channel the emotion that's there, that's moving through the blood in the body. So channeling this energy means that it goes back to, if you want to go in psychological terms, judgment, hate. We've all come from the past worlds that we've come from and the transference that we've experienced from our ancestry, that there's a lot of hate that still lives in us. And for these polarities to come together, we need to address hate. And before addressing hate, we need to know that love is what is supposed to be stronger and more empowering, but we still have this hate. So really the way I look at masculine and feminine energies in the human condition is that I look at it in such a way that, you know, it's subtle, it's dynamic. And what are we living today? What do we need to live today? Are we a survivor? Are we wanting to be more, bigger and better at whatever it is that we're attaining to do in our life? So it's first getting into the heart space. Now we talk about freedom, and we talk about structure, and we talk about boundaries and how these all come together. But, you know, freedom within structure. I wrote a book called Live Free because my journey has been so challenging, and so, like, I have moved mountains, and I literally have moved mountains. But I'll tell you that little piece so that you can get an idea of who I am in a moment. But when we have this freedom within structure, this is your masculine and feminine. You know, you have a mother, you have a father, you know, regardless of the sexes. You know, you have one that's more logical, more grounding, more where the anger, the conviction, emotions come in. So it's an emotional thing. And this is how I look at things. It all boils down to emotions, because the human condition responds to command, to emotions, to feeling, to senses. So if we understand the emotions and we come into the emotions and the relationship to the self, then at some point we're going to be able to say, hey, you know, these two energies we really need to have this polarity of male and female within, because the female is the one that's, of course, the nourishing, whether it be the man or the woman. You know, I have a lot more male energy than I do feminine energy. And on that topic, getting to that, it's taken me many years to find my way and channel out my feminine energy, just so that I can have a balance of what my emotions are about and how I can function in this world without hate, without judging. So this freedom within structure plays a big role, because the freedom is what we're all after. But, you know, they always say you have to pay for freedom. That's a big bumper sticker. But freedom is something that when we rise to the higher reality above the ego, once we rise into this place, everything is free, okay? Because we're attached to, we don't want to be so attached to the spirit, but we want to rise into the spirit. But how do you get there? And this takes a lot of, you know, your experiences in life, and allowing yourself, giving yourself permission to experience all of these different things that are going to help cultivate this spirit, or this being, this soul, this human being that you are. So rising higher above into your higher reality is a place where you're free, where I'm free. I don't have to worry what people think. I can be living on my masculine energy or my feminine energy, and I can just be who I am. If I want to be angry and strong, if I want to be soft and vulnerable, I can be that, because I take it to that higher reality. And this is a place that takes some cultivating, some working, some dropping into your heart to go to this place, to understand this relationship to your heart. Now, when I was a young child, it's emotional for me in some sense, because the heart, I had heart disease when I was a child. So let me talk about my childhood, and just I'll give you bits and pieces. I had rewritten that bio of mine saying that I've had many awakenings and whatnot, which I have. And as a child growing up, I've learned that, you know, when one person suffers, we all suffer. And this is masculine and feminine. And the divine masculine and the rising feminine, regardless of what body it is in, they will eventually see eye to eye. They will eventually see eye to eye. And this is what this summit is about. And this is why I'm so, I'm happy to be a part of this today, and all of the wonderful speakers I've been listening to. But coming again, like from that strong masculine energy, and most people think it's that, you know, East Coast thing. And I've been in LA 20 years, so I really had to go there and get my feminine, because I even think that states are masculine and feminine, if you will. I really think that the East Coast is so masculine, and that the West Coast is feminine. And sometimes you kind of get like, hey, let me flip back and forth. So this is what your emotions do. They shift, they adjust, they adapt. And we have to do this with people that we interact with all day long. So the people that we're interacting with, you may be a male or female energy, that is, but the other person may not be. So how do you adjust and adapt to this? Well, it's about shifting. And how do you shift? You have to clear these emotions. There's a lot of hate in there. There's a lot of transference. There's things that are in our history, that are in our cells, in our body. And I love doing bioenergetics work, because emotional cleansing, because I help people to really see a different light. And my real goal with people is to get them into the higher power, to see the freedom. And when I wrote the book, Live Free, I mean, I couldn't think of any other title, because I really thought that, hey, I got freedom because I went into my higher power. But needless to say, my life underneath all of that is not free. Of course, we have challenges. We have family, we have children, we have this, that, and whatnot, monetary things and everything else. But when you rise above that, see, we stay attached to that. And that's your ego. Okay, you're staying attached to all that stuff. But once you let that go, your masculine and feminine will come together, and there is your freedom within structure. And you can still be grounded and structured and unattached to whatever it is that you think you're attached to, even a mate, a lover, a romance, or a personal object. So the attachment goes. And attachment is something that the spirit really doesn't really need, or the spirit is happy, is free without that. And it's really difficult for people to get to freedom. But I even say recreate your life on the title of my book, because Live Free, recreate your life. And you can do it, but you have to take steps. And like all the other speakers have been saying, that it does take some time to come into your heart again. So my topic today was the relationship to your feelings. Now, not the relationship to yourself. Yes, to yourself, but to your feelings. I mean, have you ever had a relationship with your own feelings? People think that they love themselves. And, you know, I don't know, when I look at these people that say they love themselves and they do self-sabotaging things, I don't understand. I think that they don't understand what real love is. So having a relationship to your own feelings, of course, tapping into your inner child and doing things like that. But if you want to, see, there's something in us, a separation. There's always a separation that lives within us. And as a human being, we may feel separated. I have a feeling of separation toward the world, toward people. And it's a natural feeling. And I believe that every child may experience that at some time, or even an adult. No matter how connected you are and how popular you are with people, there's this feeling of separation. But when you are connected to the higher reality, which you can say reality or power, but I say reality because I bring my higher power as my reality. And that makes it more that I can shift my brain a little bit more with, you know, the androids of the world and the humans of the world. And it's a wonderful feeling to be able to shift and still be sane with it all. And it's something that just comes natural for me. But when we have this feeling of being separated or segregated, you know, it turns into segregation in the world, but the feelings feel separated. We're all really one. So I've learned, as I've gotten to get on my path and study and take classes over the years, that we are all really one, masculine and feminine energies. Every culture in the world, every age, every planet, every, you know, yes.
So the question that I have that's coming up as I start and that keeps coming up into the chat here too is, how do we really stop making ourselves wrong for having feelings? Like we tend to, as humans, make ourselves wrong for having feelings. What would be the first step that you would suggest to help people to have more compassion with their feelings?
Well, firstly, the relationship to your own feelings is about, you learn yourself when you have a relationship to your feelings. You have to accept. And so I have found that it's very difficult to accept yourself, because we all want to be something else or someone else, or have more things or less things, or live somewhere else. And no one is really happy, but you know, it takes a lot of discipline and willpower to really understand that if your feelings feel wrong, you have to believe, firstly, I would say accept. But to get to the accept is the challenge. because they have to go through
acknowledge it first that you're actually feeling something.
Right, right. And I find that when I bring my masculine and feminine together, that becomes the relationship to the self. And now they're buddies. Now they can talk to each other.
Is that how Tantra works?
Yes, in Tantra, you connect the male and female in each particular person. And then the male and female sort of make love or become connected as one. And then when you meet a partner, a beloved, you start to get, you're able to go deeper and further and accept each other. So the energies become more harmonizing. And so in Tantra, we work with this male and female, but firstly within the self. And once you connect in the self with this is the road to self-love. So for you to love someone and really have a beloved relationship with someone, you really need to love yourself first. But like I said, people don't understand that. And I'll tell you how I got to learn to love myself. And not only love myself, but have a relationship with my own feelings and how I opened my heart. I was a sick child. I'll give you this little story here. It's like a big chapter in my book because it's my whole childhood. I was 9 years old in Philadelphia and I had rheumatic heart disease. I had a heart disease at 9 years old. Wow, boy, I must have had a tough life up till 9, which of course I did. And as I attribute this today, I say, wow, I was 9 years old having a heart attack because of no love in the family.
Wow.
Yes, and this is where my journey took me. So when I was 9, this shamanic experience and awakening came for me. And that's simply why I moved to California, because I knew I was called to go there where the higher mind teachers are, higher conscious teachers are of the work that I seeked out. It actually seeked me. But so I was in this hospital and I was there 6 months and they soak you in ice every night and you're sort of 105 fevers, but they have to soak you in ice. And all the other kids were dying. I mean, every day people were dying. And it was a time in our world in 1966 in Philadelphia where it was all African-American children. And I happened to have been the only Caucasian person. Are we there? Hello? Oh, yeah, we're there. Okay. I didn't know we went off or not. So I happen to have been the only Caucasian person amongst African-American children at the time. And we weren't, in a time in 1966 in Philadelphia, these cultures didn't mix so well at that time. So I didn't have any friends to play with. And I was dying of heart disease. And my parents couldn't come to see me because they lived too far away. And the heart, it's just like the creative thing that a child can do is really open the heart up and start to love the self. And I witnessed body bags for 6 months being brought out, children dying of rheumatic heart disease in 1966 because medicine wasn't. So what I did was I opened my heart chakra, which I wouldn't have used the word chakra then, but now I use it. And I opened my heart to my hospital mates and we all became friends and we healed each other. And so I thought that, wow, race goes beyond, love goes beyond race at the time. And it was a very profound awakening in my life that stayed with me and went with me forever, that I was able to play with kids where society wouldn't allow us to then. And it was these children and me that saved our hearts and we were able to live. So this is how I had this relationship because I was alone a lot. No one was coming to see me. And then as time went on, that stayed with you. It's a pattern, these archetypes that live in your body, these patterns and being alone, but I had cultivated that special, special loving relationship with my heart then. And that's what went with me. And so that is why that was an awakening. And I thought that I need to go on the path of teaching people how to self-love themselves, how to forgive others, not for others, but to forgive for yourself. Because once you forgive to yourself, you can start to open your feelings to the pain that you've dealt with. So forgiveness is one part of opening up to your heart and your feelings. So let's just take a breath for a moment here. I'm just going to have everyone place your hands for a second onto your heart or your diaphragm area. And let's just take a breather in and letting go of that, breathing in And just raising up into whatever powers that are living in you, whatever, is it masculine, is it feminine? What is that expression in you? What expression lives in your body? So just take this moment here. And again, connect to whatever expression is living in your body. And see if you can just connect to that feeling that revolves around the heart. Forgiving yourself for coming back to your own feelings so that your feelings come back to you. Because when we hold on to anger, we lose the feeling that we once had. And then coming back, opening the eyes for a moment here. So, yeah, so are we okay technical wise there? Yeah, we're good. Okay, so I wanted to just get back into, again, with the experience. So learning that when you harness your aloneness, you are able to come back into your spirit. And this is how you learn the spirit. Now, aloneness and being a loner or lonely are different. If you are alone and you feel lonely, then you have to work on your emotions, because this aloneness can breed the neediness that is in the body that's taking away the fullness of your masculine and feminine. So being alone and learning how to live in this alone space can help you to rise again to your higher reality, into your feeling power and connecting this masculine and feminine. So being a loner and being happy and detached is good, but we do need people, again, because we want to connect. We want to connect the heart, the relationship of the self, coming back to your own feelings. So embodying the nature of what lives inside of you. And how do you get there? How does this all happen? Well, you have to choose a path, I always say. You know, there's a part of us that may not understand what a path is, or may not understand how to choose this journey. But if there are messages and there are words coming up, and that voice that you've been suppressing for years, you know, there is a voice there. And that voice is the voice that you may want to listen to. You may want to pay attention to that voice, because through this voice is how you can connect and open your heart. And once the heart is open, it's not even about romantic love. It's about creativeness. It's about living the joy and the pleasure in your body. And this joy and pleasure comes when we open these senses, when we open to the vulnerable. So the masculine heart that some of us are living with, the hateful heart, I call it, or the masculine heart, how do we soften that? How do we come into that space and without fear, how does someone release that? So if you can, for a moment, connect to that space in your heart, and just for a moment to see how that you can let go of some fear, just during this summit today, even if you let go of a little bit of fear, bringing yourself into that heart space, the sacred divine, and seeing, opening up to what is it that you're seeing there. And again, when we come into this heart space, there's this sacred space that we live around and we occupy around us all day. But is it sacred? Is it divine? Or is it something that you just take advantage of? Is it something that you just trumble through with hate and anger? That's more masculine energy. But again, masculine divine is refined energy, is refined, very refined, opening up to the spirit, opening up to the feelings that are in the feminine. And once the feminine is able to connect to the masculine divine, then we can have something here. Because you see, we have to look at a bigger picture. We have to look at the world, what's really happening in the world out there. We have a lot of storms happening, a lot of, gun shootings. And you say Mother Earth rules with all these storms. Mother Earth rules, but Mother Earth is saying divine masculine, Where are you? Are you here to protect me or understand me or connect with me? Are you here to join me? But then the hateful heart comes and does other things like gun shootings. So where is the balance? Where is the shift? Where is the connection? But maybe somewhere in all of this, the planets will find that peaceful, sacred space. I don't know if this is the correct approach that's happening, but anything Mother Nature-wise is out of our control, but it really isn't. If you're into the spirit and you're a spiritual person, I believe that Mother Nature is within our control. It's all according to what the humans and how the waters of the body are connecting to the world out there. So, yes.
We have a question. We do have a question that came in, and that question is, I know that we learn all the time. Why do you think that traumas take us to a faster, higher frequency? Maybe it's confronting our fear. Why do you feel that? That's from Christine Marie.
So I think I know Christine. So we're in a higher frequency when we're, what's the question again? The higher frequency with the
well, she says that why do you think that when traumas happen that we get into the higher frequencies faster?
Yeah, well, people want to recover quickly, or they look for a quick recovery. It's more like, fast, let's get it over with. I don't want to feel the pain. I don't want to. The higher frequency is also the anxiety that is building from whatever has happened. So it's an avoidance. It can be an avoidance, but they would need some, again, that's very masculine, that energy, when you go there. But a feminine energy would say, let's slow down, or let's come back and really monitor this and see what happened. So this is the avoidance of whatever is, and the masculine is in avoidance, and the masculine doesn't want to nourish. The masculine wants to be quick and fast. So when the feminine comes in, that's where you need this balance, and then that breeds more hate in the world. Believe it or not, it really does. And hate is what causes, I believe, Mother Earth to disrupt, and the planets and all the different things going on out there.
She says, thank you for your answer. That was really a great answer. And we are getting ready to close. So if there's a way that people can connect with you and anything that you'd like to say in closing, and thank you so much for your beautiful wisdom. So grateful for you.
Thank you very much. All I want to say is I have a Tantra Wisdom group page where there's a lot of teachers and things on there, and a lot of events you can find on there on Facebook. And I'm based in Philadelphia and Los Angeles. TantraWisdom.com is my website. All I want to say is love your heart. And if you love your heart, you certainly can find that the heart is the body and the mind and the soul. And it's there throughout. So just love your heart and see what happens. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. And
you're welcome.
We are moving into our next speaker, and I am so grateful that you could be here for the summit. And thank you so much for this beautiful time together. I'm so grateful.
Okay. Thank you very much for your hosting.
Thank you.